It was just last year that Atlus treated us to a re-release of Persona 3 Portable, but it seems it was merely an appetizer before the main course. Now they're serving up Persona 3 Reload, a complete overhaul of the acclaimed RPG that combines elements from various different versions and enhances the overall experience with numerous revisions and additions that easily make this the best iteration of the title to date. First up are the beautiful new visuals, which bring a more contemporary look and feel to the aging game, while still preserving its highly stylized aesthetics and personality. Not to mention, being able to walk around the fully rendered 3D environments again after their removal in Persona 3 Portable feels fantastic, and really brings you back into that world as you walk the halls of Gekukan High School or the streets of Tatsumi Port Island as you go about your daily routines.
What the? What's happening to me?
Further elevating the immersion is the new voice cast, which does an amazing job of delivering performances that never stray too far from the original's vibe, and even manage to sound better in some regards. All the incredible sights and sounds you remember are back, set to an updated soundtrack that injects some new energy into the original score. The new vocals are great, though it may take veterans some time to adjust to their delivery, and the new tracks are all bangers that fit right in with the rest.
Hey, it's Yucatan! Didn't think we'd be in the same class again.
There you go again, acting like everybody's best friend.
One of the best elements of the modern Persona entries is trying to balance your daily schedule in order to maintain relationships, while also attempting to complete specific objectives like exploring dungeons. This frantic nature that gives the series so much of its identity is back with a vengeance in Reload, with plenty of new social activities, like spending time on the shared dorm PC to unlock new benefits. There are also additional dorm activities that can boost your stats and unlock new abilities for specific characters, while simultaneously providing fun new slice-of-life interactions that give the game even more charm. If you're new to the series, the sense of FOMO is real, but if it sounds too stressful, don't fret, as Reload does make several changes that make it easier to manage your time, so you don't miss out on some things as easily as before. The biggest of these is the new Rewind feature, which lets you backtrack to one of several previous dates and times if you regret a certain decision after seeing the outcome. Obviously, you can still make multiple saves to achieve the same result, but having a quicker, more intuitive option is a brilliant change for the better.
Personally, I'm ready for some training.
I do wonder, what kind of flora and fauna live there?
All of these daily interactions provide wonderful character development, and even if not every person's story is to your liking, there's sure to be at least one that resonates with you and keeps you yearning to form a stronger bond with them whenever possible. There have been some revisions made to certain aspects of the game's narrative and writing, including altering certain scenes and some script adjustments, but ultimately, Reload's story remains faithful to the original.
What are you looking at?
Say hello to contestant number 1, Yukari Takeba! That's quite a bold design!
Yes, Junpei is still a bit of a creeper, and several of the social link plotlines contain problematic developments. It can also feel so frustrating to be rewarded for giving the worst possible advice to some of these characters in the name of advancing your relationships. Yet this plays into one of the narrative's strongest points, since most of these threads wrap up in a healthy dose of self-reflection, as each person is forced to face their shortcomings and attempt to better themselves in the end.
Hey, wanna walk home together?
This fits right into the whole theme of Persona 3 Reload and its messy world where there are no perfect answers. It also heavily mixes in themes of death and grief and how each person processes these differently. It may lean a bit too hard into power of friendship tropes at times, but overall, Persona 3's narrative is very thoughtful and mature. Not to mention, it boasts an incredibly powerful ending that ranks as one of the best in the series. Perhaps one of the biggest questions regarding Reload is whether any alterations would be made to Tartarus, the dungeon crawling section that's generally seen as one of the weaker elements of Persona 3. While Tartarus receives some refinements and adjustments, these don't really go far enough. The visual overhaul is a nice touch, as are the slight layout alterations in the higher blocks that give each portion a more distinct look and feel, but these are mostly superficial changes. Nothing like the puzzles introduced in Persona 5 has been added. It's still just dungeon crawling, which honestly can feel bland and repetitive at times.
This is it, right?
That's not to say there aren't meaningful changes. It definitely feels much easier to sneak up on shadows to initiate combat, and they now give you much more generous windows to catch rare shadows that were notorious for quickly running away and vanishing. There are also new types of chests that require a specific currency to open, which may seem annoying at first, but they typically hold extremely valuable weapons or gear. Some chests can even trigger a special gateway that allows you to pick any 2 party members to boost their levels after the next fight they participate in. It's a terrific way to ensure certain party members don't get left behind, reducing the need to grind.
I don't know their weaknesses yet. Can you test something out? I'm still setting up.
Traversing the many floors of Tartarus is also made easier thanks to a few new abilities for team member Fuka. In addition to scanning floors and allowing the party to return to the entrance, Fuka can now provide stat buffs before a battle or make the party undetectable to enemies on each floor, allowing them to safely walk around and explore. These additions help to keep things moving along at a steady pace and provide a few more safety nets to curb the more unforgiving nature of some of the previous iterations.
What even is this so-called potential?
The combat system also receives a handful of excellent new features that provide more tactical options and make battles feel more rewarding. First up is the shift mechanic, which rewards a player for hitting an enemy's weakness with the ability to pass your turn over to another character. Previously, any character that exploited an enemy's weakness would get to take another action, but it was restricted to the same character. Now, you can keep chaining together attacks that exploit enemy vulnerabilities to more easily trigger an opportunity for those signature all-out attacks, which deal massive damage. Further making your life easier is the assist ability, which automatically targets an enemy's weakness if you've already uncovered that information and have an attack that can take advantage of it.
One enemy defeated! Keep going, Kirito-senpai! Give it to me!
These alone are fantastic additions, but Reload pushes it even further with one more thing, a crucial new battle mechanic called Theurgy, which is an energy meter you build up by fulfilling certain character-specific requirements in battle. Once it's ready to go, you can unleash a devastating attack that's both flashy and potent. These 3 new mechanics make combat much more snappy, which feels great in a purely turn-based system.
This large shadow is of the Hierophant Arcana!
One side effect of the new battle mechanics, though, is that many of the fights feel a bit easier than before. Thankfully, there are still multiple difficulty settings to choose from, and you can freely toggle between most of them at any point outside of combat. Even with the battles feeling easier, there are still a few difficulty spikes when it comes to several of the bosses, especially later in the game. Revisiting a classic is an exciting proposition, yet there are always concerns about respecting the original. Persona 3 Reload doesn't quite address all the shortcomings of its previous renditions, nor does it include all the extras added over the years. However, it's another incredible take that stands proudly alongside the other stellar versions of the game. With all of its new additions and features, especially the updated visuals, rewind function, and new battle mechanics, Reload is the best way to experience Persona 3. Final score, 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching our review. We're Easy Allies. We've been writing about games for decades, and we also do podcasts, streams, shows, and more, all funded by regular viewers just like you. Head over to patreon.com/easyallies to pitch in and get rewards, and be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay connected on YouTube. See you soon.